might be another silent session. Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions. Welcome to holiness. That's what Jesus is. We're just welcoming what we already are. You can ask him. Like the level of joy when you see that everyone can speak Jesus. See, because if there are doubt thoughts that someone can speak Jesus, then it's a doubt about us speaking to Jesus. And this is our only purpose of coming together is to honor the divine power within, to speak to the voice for God, and that it speaks to us throughout the day. And to admit that there's no other greater value than this voice for us. And really to see together that there's no teacher and no student. See, as soon as there a thought of that arises, we're already giving ourselves the boot out of heaven. And Jesus was talking about you have the power within to look at every sentence, every thought that arises, and to talk to him about it to see whether it's true. Because he's saying he's the teacher. There's not a teacher outside of ourselves. It can seem to come in reflections, and they're helpful. They are helpful. Yet since divinity has to be decided here, you see, it can only be accepted here. Then the fastest means is to hear his voice and then follow it. Like, because it's your voice. It's the voice for God. He didn't say another voice for God. He said, so he's just very clear right now about this with me. That that's really hearing that inner voice and speaking that inner voice with the clarity of the truth of divine being is our only function. Because our truth is our nature. It's not, a thought is not truth. Your truth by your nature. And there are no words for truth. So we have to, as part of it, can be divine expression to say your truth, but we're the one truth. So if there's any other statement other than you're the one, and that you can hear him now in fullness, as he says, then that isn't coming from divine. Each one of you is the love of my life, because you're the symbol of the life within. You're the symbol of him. You're the symbol of him. The one who teaches us of all the ways that we would say no, or the play in consciousness. How consciousness plays to say no to infinite. To deny itself everything for nothing. So what he was talking to me about this morning And you just fall in love with that, really. Because that's falling in love with you, like the one, the totality, that voice. It's the voice that tells you you've never left home, that it's not possible to leave home. Yeah, so it's saying not to look for icons outside. They can be helpful pointers. See, unless you, everything that comes out of this mouth, you can see for yourself as a divine being is true, then it's not coming from infinite, because it's an exception to infinite. It's an attempt to have an exception to infinite. So that's why he says, go through every line in that book with him, starting with chapter 20, and you can have a talk with every line and see that you can discover. That's what it is. He's just pointing to discover for yourself what I'm saying to you is true by the resonance of your being. See, the mind won't understand it, and it tries to understand it, and Jesus is just saying this has just been the delay. He wanted to point these things out in the book because of how helpful they are. But to spend any more time than to have a conversation with him, help me understand this, Jesus, is not time spent, he says. Because the ego was going to try to figure it out. Now he's going, now is the time for infinite being to step away from idea and concepts. Step in heaven, because we can. Because we're already that. So another beautiful lesson that we celebrate together is all the love of the Father being one, coming together with only one function. Divine function, celestial function. And to see that even if we can deny it and play in consciousness, to deny that love's here, we can still look and see immediately that the light's here. It's not going anywhere. Today I let Christ's vision look upon all things for me and judge them not, but give each one a miracle of love instead. That's really the question, isn't it? Are we willing to accept what's already ours? Infinite? Would we avoid the one voice that can remind us of who we truly are? All the love that we are, how precious it is that we've been given this Course in Miracles. That where we read it, like I can remember reading it and just knowing there's something about this. And then at the same time, knowing is this true? And the only way to know is just to really look. And anything else is avoidance of looking. Yeah, he's reminding me, it's so helpful, so helpful, that text. When you're given an instruction, just go in there. He wants you to look at the text. He'll give you where you need to read. Then I could have a conversation with him and see what he's pointing to, that he's offering every one of us, the same relationship he had with Helen. If we're open to it, like, okay, buy a coat, or here's how to get one, or that it was simple. Do you see? He's offering not something really fancy. It's such a beautiful thing. I'll help you buy a coat. And a number of the beings of reflection here in this group has been, it's just simple. I'm going to tell you, like Marguerite expressing, there's Jesus there talking about, okay, I'll do the laundry now. You know, simple and practical. And I can see how there were ideas in the mind about what's spiritual. The play, right? The play, that it's the bells and whistles. See that infinite light doesn't have any bells and whistles. It doesn't need bells and whistles because it's everything. Infinite, unchanging. Happiness as identity. But that's the only reason why we come, because it's given by him, actually, as the fastest means. And there are lots of means. Consciousness is full of tantra and raising the kundalini, and Jesus just has one simple thing: follow me. Hear and speak my voice. It's your voice. And then just cease to deny that you're it. Jesus, what's the simplest way? Cease to deny and follow me. See that you're light. It's just honesty of God. It's so simple. But through the play of consciousness, that little wanting of something else, without there being anything else. Jesus, is there anything else other than light? Is the happiness of hearing those words when he tells you no, nothing other than light. But Jesus, I don't want to see that I'm light. Okay, that's honesty of God. I don't actually, what we're saying, this is where it gets funny when we're together. You know what we're saying to him all the time when we don't listen to him or follow him? Jesus, I don't want to see that I can't die. That's what we're telling him. Jesus, I don't want to talk to you. You know how he translates everything? That's what he's translating. When you're not talking to him, we don't want to see that it's impossible to die. We're not listening to him. We don't want to see that it's impossible to die. We don't want to see that pain's impossible, that sickness is impossible. In the light of divine being, is sickness possible? Yeah, that's what he's just saying. It's a decision not to see. The decision not to see me, and I'm you. I'm you. Today I let Christ's vision look upon all things for me and judge them not. Jesus, will you show me any desire below my level of awareness for judgment of something or someone? He keeps pointing back, he just says, judgment is just not listening to me. For I would tell you that I judge you not, and to judge not. Judgment is a desire for the experience of the othernesses. Jesus, do I have a desire for experience of othernesses? I love that. You go until he says no. And he keeps showing you othernesses until we can see there's not othernesses. The light doesn't have an otherness. Where in infinite light is an otherness? No other. The consciousness continues to play. And Jesus and our brother, through our brother, continues to stand at our side and invite us to see that even when we hold up that protest sign to God, we're still sitting in God's lap the whole time. You can ask Jesus about that. Again, every single thing that comes here, you can confirm for yourself. Jesus, is there any way to actually leave the lap of God? In the light of divine being, can I ever leave God? Have I ever left God? And hear him. Mm-mm. Do I like playing like I can give God the boot? Which is giving myself the boot out of heaven? Is there that play still going on a bit? But see the judge not. How could Jesus teach judge not? And we think that we would be judged by Jesus if we go to him. That's the play in consciousness, not to go to him for true interpretation. So today we call upon Jesus to show us his interpretation on everything. Today I let Christ's vision look upon all things for me and judge them not, and give each one a miracle of love instead. I'm asking him, is it good to... He says, yes, it's good to ask him, where don't I want to give a miracle in love instead? That's all he's showing us now. We're looking at desire, how deeply we do not want to give a miracle instead. Yet there's so much helpfulness and happiness, because then it's seen again how powerful we are as divine beings, how powerful thought is, how our very thoughts are generating a world. He's really calling us, though, not to be guilty in that. That guilt's a desired experience too. Not to look, not to see what's already here. So I would liberate all things I see and give them the freedom that I seek. Father, we would give all things I see, I would give them the freedom that I seek. For thus I do obey the law of love and give what I would find and make my own. That's really the thing. that he's pointing to, the desire not to obey the laws of love, of God's love. You know, we think we don't want to, we will obey our parents when we're little, or maybe not. I'm asking, do we need to let go of the idea of what obeying is? He says we need to let go of every concept about what we think everything is. Yet it's helpful to look at what we think obeying God means and how much pride there is and suffering in not obeying obedience. It's heaven obedience. It's either the serpent's obedience. It's just being obedient to truly what we are, which is like Jesus, do I have a desire below my level of awareness to be disobedient to God? He said you can't actually be disobedient, but you can think that you can, and then you'll be guilty. When you're invested in forms, see, the consciousness makes certain forms, certain play in consciousness guilty. That's why we need him to show us which plays, what are the plays that really consciousness makes so it can suffer them. Pretend like they're really great, fabulous, and try and keep them as objective experience to deny divinity. I'm asking him if I mentioned sexuality. One of them is sexuality. It's just an invitation to look and just see, is this a play of consciousness? He speaks, bodies cannot join. Very clear on that in A Course. Yet see that any plays, he doesn't deny a single play in consciousness. Play, but you will suffer it. That's all, because that's how consciousness works. It creates objective experience, pretends it's pleasure, and it's actually consciousness' little hidden hell. And just see if there's any way to have sex without pleasure. Well, there are ways, but that's always hidden, or without guilt. You can ask them. Body identification, very strong body identification in that. So he's not making it run. He's just saying, talk to me. Just a conversation. That's all. It's all just a conversation to see where we're bound to a body identification. Does that bind me? Will that bind me to body identification? See what he says. He says in our texts, sexuality, sex is something that a miracle worker must understand. And the only one that can help us understand it is him, the one who knows. It's just a conversation. It's an opportunity for a miracle of love. Like I say, he's showing us the fastest way is for Jesus to show us where all the miracles, we're denying ourselves miracles that we're doing here with each other. Not doing, well, we're guided to be undone here with each other, to be undone. So I would liberate all things I see and give them the freedom that I seek. For thus do I obey the law of love and give what I would find and make my own. It will be given me because I have chosen it as a gift I want to give. So when something arises that we really want to hold on to it, again, I've said that question has been so helpful. Is this divine expression? And I think, is this really divine expression? You can give it the divine expression test, the light test. Is this an expression of all that I am as given by the Father? It's, I don't think the I could have ever thought, and it can't think this, that obedience is the happiest thing possible. Being obedient to God's will, because it's being obedient to who we are. See, we're always wanting the play of consciousness, not we, how consciousness plays. There's no way to talk about it, really, because there's no one doing it. It's just consciousness playing. I want to be disobedient. I want to be disobedient to identity, who I am. Humbling, happily so. So disobedience in Jesus's language is denial of identity, true identity. Denial that one is here. Just the denial. And see, he's talking about prompts. You can use the word prompt. What it is it's a divine expression arising. Let's not call it a prompt anymore. Let's call it what it is. Divine expression arising. In the play of consciousness, the play of consciousness is to say no to divine expression, to deny that it trades objective experience for divine expression. I love that. That's beautiful, actually. Divine expression. We're going to drop the prompt, because he even said that this is beyond prompts, and now I see why for me. So divine expression, the spirit, the movement of spirit, that's the happy dream movement. That it seems to come from, but it's coming from beyond this world, actually, to remind us that we are beyond this world. Divine expression, that there's no doer, that's pure innocence. To express without the miscreation. In this world, but not of it, expression. That's what so when those come, that's what that is. So then the ego plays like this. Well, I won't listen now, but I'll listen in the future. The but. See, it's always an exception. And that's the denial of identity. Because if we're not listening now, you see how it's a delay in time, and we're not going to listen anymore in the future, because you can't see what's your own divine expression unless you follow it. Because we don't know what that is. I see it, the play in consciousness. He's showing me how the play in consciousness, I don't feel the spark in that. Don't use that. No. It's not helpful, because the identity does not know what a spark is. It does not know what divine expression is, and it thinks that a spark is pleasure. And so there's such a misunderstanding of divine expression, because the entire consciousness is to deny divine expression. And so what the ego finds sparky, the question is this divine expression? Then you can know. This is full divine expression. Because then you'll have objections and all this, but you'll know it's divine expression and see that the play in consciousness is to deny divine expression in fullness. And just see how the play of consciousness will use every word and every sentences for its purpose to deny divine expression, infinite, a movement from totality. I'm not doing that. It doesn't feel sparky. Who's saying that? There are going to be some things that the you does not want to do because its function is to deny divine expression. So we don't even know what joy. I mean, the play of consciousness is to deny joy and our joy at every turn. And we're so affiliated with an object bringing us joy. So in order to really, for him to demonstrate, for God to move through us, we have to say no. I'm now, Jesus, there's no other way to it. That is acceptance of divine power. To say no to the no to God. And to really, so we're just following divine expression and ceasing to follow that other voice is going to say no in every case to divine expression. It even says no to its own expression to make it really confusing in there. So it's the damned if you do, damned if you don't. See how it will play? If I do this, I'll be damned, but and then it takes out a little chart and then goes, here's all the reasons to do it. And so here's all the reasons not to do it. And remember, those are all reasons. That's the reason play. Rather than, is this divine expression? This is my only function. To express in fullness. And this is full expression of divinity. And therefore, and then we can see we're divine. As long as we're saying no to full on divine expression and going for those little joy hits, that they're not joy hits, they're hell hits, hidden in form. That's why I trust him without a question when I ask him something and he tells me, because he knows he's the voice within saying, this is divine expression for you, and that is not divine expression. Because divine expression is infinite joy, unlimited joy. See? And the ego's plan is no to infinite. So there will be the fire to step through in this. He says yes. Because of the habit of settling for less than all that is. The habit, as I've said many times, as he's told me, you're tolerant, you're tolerating this. And we can give no quarter to that. I'm asking about the Dragon Banner because I saw this movie. I was wondering, why am I watching The Outlaw King? But I see it. You see, there are things to see in that movie. But anyway, so it was about the Scottish right to the throne. This is what we're fighting God for, our right to the throne. That's what we're fighting God for, the right to feel like we're going to sit on the throne. We're already sitting on the throne with them. We don't need to fight them for it. But anyway, so they go out and assemble, not a lot of clarity in the play of consciousness and historical, but they would carry the dragon banner, which it's believed to mean that they would go out and give no quarter, meaning that would just kill anyone in their path. So Jesus can take that and have you carry it to give the ego no quarter. To carry the dragon banner, this is his reinterpretation. You carry that dragon banner and give this idea of a personal identity not a scooch inch That's carrying the banner for God. True nature. No quarter to that. Father, your gifts are mine. So we're here to remind each other to really carry that banner, the God banner, to be the expression of divine, because that's all our function is here, to be of this, in this world and not of it. To express the power that we carry naturally as the natural state of being. Each one that I accept gives me a miracle to give. Each gift of the Father. See how accepting what Jesus is, accepting the miracles, the gifts of the Father, and extending them, rather than denying miracles. So not following divine expression, the movement of divine expression fully, is denying all the gifts of the Father. It's denying miracles. So like it's not, yes, Jesus will still be there. He's not the one, it's just the denial of divine expression. It's giving power to the ego, which is going to come along, and then you feel guilty for not following, because not following divine expression isn't natural. It's not natural. And so the belief in punishment and all that, it's the desire to experience punishment for not following the divine expression. So then it's like a little geyser that pops up out of consciousness. The guilt then's going to play, and it's interpretive, and they're going to seem like you've taken a trip into hell, because the desired experience is not to follow divine expression. But without actually following divine expression, this can't be discovered, because we're siding with the denial of divine expression. Each one that I accept gives me a gift, a miracle to give, and giving as I would receive, I learn your healing miracles belong to me. Let's ask him, Jesus, do miracles belong to me? In this world, it's the only thing that belongs to you. The only thing in this world that belongs to you is miracles. That simplifies a lot. Our Father knows our needs. He gives us grace to meet them all. And so we trust in him to send us miracles to bless the world and heal our minds as we return to him. You know, Mooji says something really beautiful. He says, people talk to me, he goes, I am my master's highest teaching. I am my master's highest teaching. That's our function. I am Jesus, my master. He's our brother that needs to be our master for a while. He's us, but he needs to be our master until we see that, until we admit that God is our master. And we can say, I am my master's highest teaching. Meaning I have transcended the time for teaching and learning and being. Just being is all there is. It's just to see that there isn't anything other than obedience to God. Our Father knows our needs. He gives us grace to meet them all. And so we trust in him to send us miracles to bless the world. and heal our minds as we return to him. Our Father knows our needs. Jesus, does our Father know our needs? That was such a beautiful joining. When we were joining and Rita was talking about, and see, because this is honesty of God. The belief or below the level of awareness that Jesus does not know her needs. But see, she's speaking for all of us. Jesus, is there a belief, a desired experience below my level of awareness that you do not know truly what my needs are? That is there a desire for an experience that my Father does not know my needs? That's going to hurt a lot. That's going to hurt a lot, he says. He gives us grace to meet them all, and so we trust in him to send us miracles to bless the world. Father, are you sending me miracles? Because hear them all the time. But again, it's like on the Starship Enterprise that we talked about, where it comes and the enemy comes and the shields go up. So when Jesus, that's what's happening. God is sending us nonstop miracles, but we keep the shields up. Wah, wah, miracle incoming. Wah, wah. Keep that miracle with the big N-O. So this is shields down and let them in. So we trust in him to send us miracles to bless the world and heal our minds as we return to him. Amen. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, holiness. My holy brothers who've come to lead the way, to be the Jesus in this world and lead us out.